Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Sports Extra. I'm your host Ahmed Nawaz with the latest roundup of sports today. Let's take a look at what we're discussing. First of all, we do tell you that Pakistan is all geared up for its test series against Australia. It's a 3-match test series that takes place. The first test match on the 14th. Then we move on to the second Boxing Day test match from the 26th of December, and the third one that will be played in the span of the new year. So 3 test matches in this all-important ICC World Test Championship, and it's going to be very interesting. Pakistan also due to take place in a side match as well. When you talk about, it was very important that you go to a tour of Australia or New Zealand and you've got the opportunity to play a side game. So I think that is also on the cards, and that would be an interesting game when you phase out that you're getting enough practice to try out your combinations. A 4-day game is always necessary before a test match. So we'll talk about the practice, the playing 11, everything in detail. Then we move on to some spectacular news from the women's cricket team, who have beaten New Zealand in the second T20 international, and they've won the series. Nasha Sadhu scored a brilliant, performance. If we talk about 137 for 6, I thought, I've been talking about the fact that we've not been able to reach 120 plus. I think finally they've done it. Winning by 10 runs, restricting New Zealand to just 127 runs is remarkable, and picking up 7 wickets as well. So we'll talk all about this in detail. And of course, like I said, congratulations to the girls in green. Congratulations to all the cricket fans of Pakistan and the Pakistan Cricket Board. Spectacular stuff from the girls in green in New Zealand. We talked about earlier that they won the first test match, the first T20 international, when we were talking about the test series with Australia yesterday, and we talked about the fact that they've made history. In 9 games they won the first T20 international, but now first ever series against New Zealand. I think history is still there to be written in the books, and Pakistan women's team has certainly done that. So we'll talk about that in detail. Time now to introduce the guests. First of all, in studios, we've been joined by sports expert Malik Usman. Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, I'm doing well, thank you.
Long time, sir. Great to have you in studios.
That is all mine. Yeah, busy.
Absolutely. We've also been joined by cricket expert and analyst Sabir Hussain. Assalamu alaikum, Sabir. How are you?
Walaikum assalam, Ahmed. I'm good, thank you.
Great to have you as well, Sabir. Now, Usman, when we analyze this test series, before this, we've seen a lot of positivity from the captain, Shan Masood. He's highlighted a couple of things. The challenge up ahead. We've seen the team training well as well. Seems to be a fair bit of runs when you talk about this Optus Stadium in Perth. Only 3 test matches have been played, so not much to take out for stats if you want to talk about the pitch. Australia have already announced their squad as well. So how do you see the series, especially the first test match? How important is it to set the tone of your team in Australia?
See, first and foremost, these players are experienced players. I'm talking about the Pakistani side. Australia is always tough to beat at home. But Pakistan has everything to gain from this series, because they have not been winning of late. And many a times they have been hammered in this series. But this is a batting lineup that Pakistan is taking forward to Australia, probably the best in recent times that has stood Australia from the Pakistan side. So they have a good batting lineup, and they have fresh coaching panel as well. They have a fresh panel of selectors as well. So they have some fresh faces certainly in the squad. So they would be having this exuberance and experience combined going forward. And they have their best players in form. And they have a lot of things to prove after the sorry World Cup they had a month ago. So I think it's going to be a big challenge, and it is everything to gain, and history has to be written. They can win a game or two in Australia. I think they can do a Pakistan woman what they did today. They can do that in Australia, and they can create a history for themselves.
Well, certainly history is there for the taking as well. But Sabir, I think the particular thing that we've been talking about, and we've been trying to figure it out, is that what kind of best playing 11 should we be going for? Because for the first time your batting might just click, but your bowling is certainly a question mark.
Absolutely, it is a question mark, because now this combination is, I would say, better than the previous one, basically the tour. Australia. So many youngsters were there. At that particular time, lots of criticism were made. Obviously on Mohammad Amir and Wahab Riaz as well. They basically didn't want to play test matches. Waqar Yunus was not happy. But this particular time, Shaheen Shah Afridi, he has been playing cricket consistently, ODIs, T20s as well. But he has to basically prove as far as his fitness is concerned, because he's coming back from injury as far as the longer format is concerned. They have basically included Hassan Ali. He has basically proved in domestic circuit. And also in county cricket as well. It will be interesting to see how basically Mir Hamza and Khurram Shehzad, the domestic performers, will be utilized. Along with Shaheen Shah Afridi and Hassan Ali. The obvious choice will be Hassan Ali and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Because as per the press conference in body language, Shan Masood, he basically, insisted he is basically having a settled kind of a team. So he, I think, doesn't want to change the opening combination, Abdullah Shafiq and Imamul Haq, and he basically said it in a press conference. So that shows basically he's also going along with Shaheen Shafri, then Hassan Ali as well. But I mean, in my opinion, better to try, Saim Ayub and in a couple of test matches, one or two test matches. He's basically a very good prospect. He has basically, scored very quickly. You cannot survive on these kind of conditions to blocking the balls. I mean, you have to play some positive cricket. We have seen subcontinent teams, especially India, they have basically improved their performances, especially away to us. I mean, thanks to Virat Kohli's captaincy. But I mean, their individual performances, like Ajinkya Rahane, a couple of more Indian batsmen, they basically performed really well. Likes of Rishabh Pant as well. The kind of attacking cricket basically he played a couple of series ago. It was marvelous to see. So same kind of situation for Pakistan. They have nothing to lose. I mean, it's been so many years basically. We haven't won a test match. People are talking about series, but when we haven't won a test match since 1995. So I mean, 9 test matches, inning defeat. So many big losses to us. I mean, this particular time, Babar Azam, kind of experienced player, no burden of captaincy. Mohammad Rizwan, he's a very good backfoot player. I'm basically fancy his chancing on these kind of tracks. Saud Shakil as well, little guy, he is a very good backfoot player as well. So Shan Masood himself, he basically performed in South African bowling attack in South Africa and England as well. So basically, I'm quite hopeful as far as the Pakistani batting is concerned. But bowling, rightly said, I mean, we are struggling. But I mean, I would love to see Amir Jamal in a bowling all-rounder. Maybe Fahim Ashraf, but Amir Jamal kind of a form he's having. Pakistan Shaheens in Zimbabwe tour as well, Pakistan A as well. So I would like to see Amir Jamal's inclusion in this particular squad. He basically balances as far as the batting and bowling is concerned.
Absolutely. We need to analyze this in detail. The fact is that Amir Jamal is the talk of the town. But then again, Pakistan would like to traditionally stick to its playing 11, and that's what they normally do. We don't step out of that comfort zone. Also joining us on Sports Extra is sports expert Umar Khan. Assalamu alaikum, Umar. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Right, Umar, how would you analyze this entire scenario that we're discussing? Of course, like I said, that for the very first time, we have the ability in the batting that we can score some runs, courtesy that we see off that dangerous new ball bowling of Australia. But then again, you've got to play out Nathan Lyon well, all things there. The batting looks pretty confident this time. But that bowling, particularly that we're discussing about, that who's going to be the choices, how do you see the tour overall?
Well, if Nathan Lyon is out, I don't think Pakistan will be much happy about it because he's a spinner after all, and Pakistan is really good against spin. The real botheration for Pakistani batsmen would be the Australian pacers in Australian conditions. And if you look at the squad, it's a young squad. We don't have much players to rely on. If you look at the history of Pakistan in Australia, we've never won a series, even in the best times when we had the best team during the 90s. Even then, we were able to draw series only. And if you look at this team, I think if you look at the batting, there are only a few, I would say, Babar Azam and another 1 or 2 where we can actually expect that they'll score a bit of runs. Not big runs, but a bit of runs. And in the previous conversation, you mentioned how India played against Australia. They recently won a series in Australia. So looking at this team with the new captain, I don't have high expectations from Team Pakistan, but then again, with extreme difficulties, there comes opportunity. These youngsters, they're hungry, they're waiting for their chance. The likes of Saim Ayub, Khurram Shahzad is there, Amir Jamal has been talked about, he's there. So I don't know what the exact playing 11 would be, but there are two sides. At one side, I see a very inexperienced bowling attack, which has no pace at all to challenge the Australian batters in this condition. I'm happy to see Mir Hamza because he can really move the ball, but in the first 10 overs, he'll be effective. Once the ball gets old, these Australian batsmen will be walking and hitting him out of the park. Another thing that I was noticing is we had a test bowler, Mohammad Abbas, who was a top wicket taker, and now he's nowhere to be found. So the problem is that we're investing in fast bowlers who are just interested in playing the T20 format. We need to talk to our players first that are you interested in playing test cricket, and then invest in those who are ready for test cricket, because 70% of the time we're playing T20 cricket, 25% I would say is test, and 5% is ODIs. And the results we saw in the ODI World Cup. So I think The team is young. I don't have much high expectations, but then again, I would really be happy if we can see some good performances out of the players.
Well, this debate has been going on in Pakistan right now. A lot of shows have also mentioned this as well. Usman, there is a talk about Mir Hamza not possessing that pace that a bowler requires. Now, my question is that a guy who's played 105 first-class matches was given just a handful of test matches. Let's be honest. Had you played him in his peak, you might have been able to develop his pace. That discussion right now, I think, is pointless of talking about the fact that he doesn't have pace.
It cannot be pointless, certainly speaking, because once he's in the squad for the Pakistan national side, is every aspect of the game has to be discussed.
Then why pick him if he didn't have pace?
But that is to my surprise. I was very surprised looking at his name in the squad. I have the same opinion what Umar was talking about. I think after the ball stops swinging, he would be a he won't be much of a handful, let's say, for that matter, because if you don't have pace, you can surprise with your pace and bounce in Australia, but with lack of pace, you cannot even bounce out your opponent. And once the ball stops swinging, which it will do very early, because Australian pitches are not of the older times of the 90s, of the 80s, when the pitches would be very, very lively. Now they too prefer a much more batting friendly track, but mind you, they still have bounce in that pitch. But even if you have bounce in that pitch and you don't have a pace to dismantle the batsman, I think it's going to be very difficult. I agree with what my colleague was talking about, that the pace attack would be made up of Hassan Ali and Shaheen Shah Afridi, and they will have one bowling all-rounder, probably Fahim Ashraf would be one of them, or Amar Jamal could be one of them, and they will introduce one of the youngsters in the side, could be Hamza, and there would be one spinner. And looking at the bowling lineup, looks pretty inexperienced as far as Hassan Ali is concerned. Hassan Ali has a problem with the pace. His pace has dropped some 10 Ks or so, and for that matter, if you are going to replace him with Hamza, Hamza doesn't have that pace to bother the batsman as much in Australia, because in Australia with these fast pitches, you need to have pace. That would be one of the reasons why Wahab Riaz was very disappointed with Haris Rauf's omission. And it's very surprising because Pakistan doesn't have much backup. I would have loved to see Naseem Shah in this tour. He was there in the previous one. He was too young. He was too naive. He broke down in one of these test matches. This was the time when he was so ripe. He was in his early 20s and he could have done much more wonders. Australian tour could be a challenge for Mir Hamza's and Shaheen Shah Afridi's and Hassan Ali's and Babar Azam's. But this is a tour which can make a legend out of a player. So Hamza has been picked up. A lot of confidence is shown in him by Wahab Riaz. I think it's his time to do what he can do his best. I agree, these are not his peak years. That surprised me a lot with this lack of pace. Taking him to Australia, probably Australia would be the best place where he can be utilized, because there he is going to get slightly faster pitches where his pace might just go into the hiding. He may overcome that lack of pace with faster pitches.
Well, Usman, if you are playing one spinner, then what would you say is the best option to go about it, Numan or Abrar?
I think it has to be Abrar Ahmed, because he's the talk of the town as far as spin is concerned, and he's a kind of mystery spinner. I'm not so sure about his one-day or T20 record, but I think he's doing pretty well in Test cricket, and off late he has been picked. And what I'm told is Numan is already a second choice spinner in this squad, so they are going to go with Abrar Ahmed.
Sabir, if you are to play one spinner, like Usman said, that most probably they're going to go with Abrar, and if that is the case, how do you see that quality and that grit to bowl on those Australian wickets and make an impact as an impact bowler?
Look, I mean, he has basically played a couple of international matches and he has been, performing really well in domestic circuit as well under the captaincy of Sarfaraz Ahmed. So, I mean, I'm, quite hopeful as far as his individual performance is concerned. He is basically, getting some kind of exposure touring, away from Pakistan. And recently, Saeed Ajmal is being, inducted as far as spinning bowling coach as well. So, I mean, he has to basically improve. He has to bring basically some kind of a variety as far as his bowling is concerned. Because if you, if you don't have any kind of variety, you cannot survive, especially on these kind of tracks against the mighty side. We have seen Yasir Shah basically badly struggle. He used to be a quality kind of a bowler. He basically performed in England and UAE as well, but he basically was hammered by Australian bowlers and in the last series as well. So it's all upon about your mental toughness. You have to create this this self belief. You can perform against mighty side like Australia. They have a phenomenal batting lineup. I mean, But I mean, Ibrar could be a very useful bowler for Pakistan, because Numan could be a predictable bowler as far as these pitches are concerned. He basically doesn't have a kind of a tron like Abdur Rahman used to have. Abdur Rahman basically picked up so many wickets in New Zealand tracks. I mean, we still remember a couple of years ago. But it will be interesting to see how basically Shaheen Shah's pace will be, consistent. Hassan Ali's pace, we always know his pace basically drops very frequently. And then Mir Hamza, kind of a pace he is having, he might struggle. But I mean, the proper line of length will be very crucial for Pakistani bowlers. And again, the slip catching is very important for Pakistan, because we have seen in the past, we have been, we used to be very horrible as far as, the catching was concerned, especially in the slips. I mean, we basically used to give a couple of chances to the great players like David Warner, basically, but triple 100 as well. Still remember in the last series.
But it is his farewell test. I still think that, his favorite opposition to play against is Pakistan.
And Pakistan basically is the team. Basically, they basically always want players to get their form back. I mean, we have seen the World Cup as well. So but that is the reason Indians are not happy, because David Warner, Adam Zampa as well, both of them basically got the form in Pakistan's match. So the Indians are not happy, by the way. But I mean, Pakistan basically they need to improve, because they have been quality side. Lots of expectations. Australian media as well, covering individual players as well. We have seen little interviews of Shaheen Shah Afridi, Sarfaraz Ahmed, yesterday Shan Masood as well. So people are basically expecting such kind of improved performance, because we have been horrible. We have seen a couple of more legends basically, they didn't perform as far as the expectations were concerned, like Inzamam Mulak as well. Only I remember Saeed Anwar, Shoaib Akhtar's spells, I still remember. Other than that, but you cannot recall as far as the performances, especially on Australian tours are concerned. So this particular time, Babar Azam, yes, he's an experienced player. Imam Ulaq, he basically toured before. Shan Masood, recently a newly captain, better technique kind of a batsman. Mohammad Rizwan, he's an improved kind of a test player batsman as well. Sarfaraz is having a very good form, and he was the man of the series in the last series as well against New Zealand. So I'm quite hopeful as far as batting is concerned. It all depends upon bowling.
Right, Umar Khan, let's identify the batters who you would probably say Pakistan's chances would be relying on in this series, and they're bound to get runs.
Can you please repeat yourself?
Yes, Umar, who can be the batters that Pakistan would be relying on to get quality runs in this series?
Well, if we talk about runs and the batting line Pakistan has, I have a bit of expectation from Shan Masood, specifically the quality of cricket that Shan played against Sri Lanka and the aggression he showed, and now he being the captain, I think Pakistan will play a bit more aggressive cricket, which was a bit of lacking. And if Pakistan has that mental approach, we've seen in the 2010 era when Salman Butt and all the other players were there, Pakistan got bowled out for near 50 twice in the test matches. So with that approach, even if you're getting bowled out for 150 or less than 200, if you're playing with that approach, I don't mind Pakistan getting bowled out earlier, but it's the mindset and approach, because it's a new team, a young side, and this is where we build up. And how we set up the foundation for this team and how the quality and brand of cricket they're about to play will define Pakistan Test cricket in the coming years, maybe the next 5-10 years. So this is the time we're in a rebuilding phase. Youngsters are coming up. So this is what we need to set up. Shan Masood, aggressive players. Taim Ayub, aggressive player. Even we've seen others who are coming and playing shots. We haven't seen that before. While Azhar Ali was there in the middle order, even Yunus Khan, they never used to attack. They used to take their time. They used to bat around 30-35 strike rate. But if you see Pakistan batting in the recent 1-2 years, we're seeing strike rates of 80 and 70 plus in test matches. And Shan is playing over 100 strike rate in the previous few games.
Certainly, Yunus Khan brings back so many great memories, and me and Usman was just trying to signal each other of the 60s he's always hit after getting to 194 or 94. The two of the classy innings that we've seen from Yunus Khan would always be remembered. So that is Usman a class apart. Nothing like that I think has ever been seen. But obviously, like I keep on mentioning, that Australian media is very interested to see Babar Azam in this series.
Babar Azam is always the talk of the town wherever he goes. He's a superstar player, probably Pakistan's best, if not the best ever He's the best in the recent times, and he's a great player. Ricky Ponting talks a lot about him. Australian commentators talk a lot about him. And looking at this team, if you have to pick up with your eyes folded, blindfolded, you are always going to pick Babar Azam inevitably. He had a poor World Cup, no doubt about it. That was a glitch in his brilliant form for the past 2-3 years. He's the current player of the year. He's the current one-day player of the year. So he has all the elements for a great game in Australia. And he has done well in the last tour as well. He scored 100, he scored a 97. So why not get a couple of hundreds in this tour as well? He would be the key batsman for Pakistan, and Pakistan would be desperately wanting him to perform not just 100 but daddy hundreds, probably 150, 200. And if he gets going, Pakistan can end up with a good score, and it will all be on the bowling. See, this is not an ordinary tour or a honeymoon, because now there are precious Test championship points on the line. So you have to play every game, and none of these games are going to be dead rubber by any means. And Pakistan, looking at the performance recently, probably they have a better chance performing in this tour than in the recent times, because this side looks much more mature. And you have a captain who has been captaining in England as well, in Pakistan domestic circuit. It's going to be a fresh start, and there won't be much pressure on him from the Pakistani media or Pakistan side, but Australia for that matter. They sort of, Ganguly used to say that whenever a team comes to tour to Australia, it's not the Australian team that they're going to face, it is also the Australian media, the Australian crowd and everything. So that comes in a packet, and Pakistan has to be ready for that, more specifically the captain, because it is the mentality of the Australians that they always target the opposition captain.
Well, Usman, from what words I've been able to decode of Shan Masood, I'll give him credit, he's got a poker face. But what he has given us so far is that Imam and Abdullah Shafiq are opening. That means that he's going to come at 3 and Babar at 4.
That is what
so top 4 is defined. But then again, 5-6, where do you see that balance? They have signaled that Rizwan might be playing a test match due to his batting, and they won't go with Sarfaraz. So Shakeel in there probably as well, what we can gauge from right now.
I am very worried for the top 3 by all means, because look at the Australian bowling lineup. These 3 fast bowlers are gem for any side if they are going to feature individually. These 3 together, they are just a demon for the batting side that is going to play. And with these lively services and bouncy services, and having Abdullah Shafiq probably his first tour as a test batsman in Australia, Imamul Haq of late hasn't been performing, and his days are numbered if he doesn't do well in this series as well. Shan Masood as a captain, number 3, the most precarious position in test match batting, is going to be very dangerous. Their target has to be to see off the new ball, and I am very worried how they're going to see off this new ball. It is going to be a massive challenge. And Shan Masood as a captain taking up number 3 spot, I think that is a very good signal for the whole team, that he's taking the responsibility of playing in that precarious position and protecting Babar Azam as for number 4, because number 4 position is the best position for your best batsman in a test match. And from there on, I think our batting, with all due respect to the top 3, it is going to start from 4 and onwards. As my colleague was talking about, and Umar was also talking about, we have to see how Shan Masood gets going in as far as his batting is concerned. See, since he has come back into this test team, he's averaging close to 28, but his strike rate is close to 75. I'm not a big fan of having an average of 28 and a strike rate of 75 in a test match, but certainly that gives some onus and some momentum to the team, that how he would like the team to play, especially when he's the captain. So if they are going to go with this aggressive approach, we have to see that on the first day of the test match of Pakistan, whenever Pakistan bats first in the series, and that will set the tempo how they're going to go about the series. See, they have not had a great experience in Australia in test matches. Why not play in a brand which they call the Pakistan way, and let's see if they can surprise the Australians. Mind you, Pat Cummins may not be a great one-day bowler, certainly not a great T20 bowler, but he is one hell of a bowler in test match cricket.
Well, I think they use test match instincts to win a World Cup. So I think that was certainly there. Yeah. But Sabir, I would agree. I think Babar Azam at number 4 adds a lot to the Pakistan side as well, not just Babar Azam.
It is basically this, balances it's all kind of batting combination. I mean, thanks to Shan Masood, coming at number 3, and it all depends upon, Imamul Haq and, Abdullah Shafiq, which kind of start they are basically, given again Abdullah Shafiq, he has to basically, play his shots, normal shots. I mean, Imamul Haq, we have seen he basically, always struggles as far as the short ball is concerned. Recently, we have seen in ODI World Cup as well. So it won't be easy for Imamul Haq to survive these kind of deliveries. And if you play, positive cricket, I mean, like loose delivery, you have to hit. I mean, so then the pressure will be on the bowlers. I mean, mind you, everybody is talking about, Pat Cummins. Scott Boland will be very crucial, very lethal for Pakistani batsmen. I mean, he was, extremely, great bowler, I would say, against Australia, against England, against Indian batting lineup as well. So, you are talking about Babar Azam, then number 5, Rizwan or Saud. Then obviously I would go for Saud. He's the technically sound, specialist kind of a batsman. So he basically must come, at number 5. Then you have Rizwan or Sarfaraz Ahmed. So both of them can be included if you want to strengthen your batting lineup. Then you have to include one of obviously a fast bowling all rounder. So it will be your 3 going with 3 fast bowlers, 2 specialist fast bowlers, then 1 kind of all rounder. Then the 4th will be spinner. But in my opinion, you don't have a choice, because Saud Shakil cannot bowl, Shan Masood himself as well. You need to have at least 4 specialist bowlers. I mean, 4 specialist bowlers will be crucial.
I think Pakistan is generally going to go with 4 fast bowlers and 1 spinner. That makes probably 5 and then 6 batters if they're not too worried about having a long batting lineup. I think that will make the difference. That's probably the right way to go. But that being said, like I said, that the first test match starts off on the 14th. We're all very excited and we're hoping for a great game as well. Umar, before we move on to the next subject, one key element over here is going to be for Australia is the return of Nathan Lyon. How do you see that?
Well, if I just talk about the series in total and overall, what the thing is, a lot of questions will be answered tomorrow once the practice game starts in Canberra. We'll see what the Pakistan mindset is for the combination. We'll see what bowlers will be playing. We'll see what opening pair will be going in the ground, and that would answer a lot of questions. We mentioned about all the batsmen and bowlers. I would just like to add one thing, which is differed from your question, is Shaheen Shah Afridi right after his injury has not been that much effective, even if we saw in the World Cup. I was discussing with another international left-arm fast bowler, and he highlighted one fact, and he said that after a knee injury specific, there's a muscle memory of a bowler, and then he's trying to protect his knee. If we look at before and after videos of Shaheen Shah bowling action, right after the injury, his landing is a bit outside. His leg, which is landing rather than straight, it's a bit tilted toward one side. And that has killed his swing, and his follow-through is also being affected. I think if Shaheen can give us a big early breakthrough and the batters can give a good start, I think everything will fall in place. But we're all into a lot of ifs and buts. Let's just hope for the best.
Absolutely. We should hope for the best. Always think positive. I think that is the way to go about, especially in Australia. So I think all in all, we're in for a great test series. It's always great when test cricket returns. I think watching the game in whites is always exciting and is the real form of the game as well, no matter what the results are. That being said, now we move on to what the women's cricket team has achieved, and it's no less than greatness. We've got a report on that. Let's take a look.
Pakistan women cricket team beat New Zealand to secure the historic T20 series away from home since October 2018. It was not only their first overseas win, but it was also their first series victory outside Asia and Ireland. Pakistani team held their nerve to clinch a 10-run win in the second T20 of the ongoing 3-match series. Pakistan posted a competitive total with handy contribution from the entire batting unit. Young opener Muniba Ali made 35 of 28 balls, and Alia Riaz provided a late surge with her 32 of 22 deliveries.
And it's long and it's gone.
They defended 137 against a power-packed Kiwi side at their own backyard. From Pakistan side, Fatma Sana leading the charge by claiming 3 crucial wickets for 22 runs. Sadia Iqbal supported her well, taking 2 wickets from 29 runs, ensuring that the pressure never eased on the home side. Now, Pakistan women cricket team is looking to a clean sweep when they face New Zealand in the third T20 on December 9.
Levels out there for Pakistan. They have taken the T20 series here against New Zealand. History made 2 days ago. History confirmed today.
Well, there you have it. Really happy camp there in the Pakistan women's team, and more happier is Sabir Hussain in studios, because he mentions a very particular point that has made a difference in the Pakistan's T20 side. Yes, Sabir.
Yes, I mean last week, we were discussing about the squad as well. Then they basically, Pakistan's women's cricket, they have the tour or New Zealand, and Fatma Sana's inclusion was very crucial, because especially on these kind of tracks. I mean, she has a good kind of a pace and very useful as far as these kind of pitches are concerned. And thanks to, I was also mentioning the senior players basically, they need to step up. I mean, likes of Bisma Maroof, Nida Dar, and Alia Riaz as well. So Alia Riaz basically, she herself, performed really, especially in the first T20, very crucial runs, and also in the second T20 as well. She was basically, got man of the match as well. So very, remarkable performance of Pakistan. We are basically expecting such kind of performance, because we have to compare, Bangladesh cricket, women's cricket, and also Sri Lankan. They are basically improving day by day. But I mean, our Pakistani women are basically they need some kind of exposures. To be very honest, their cricket must be commercialized as far as their domestic circuit is concerned. PCB must invest, in Pakistan's women's, cricket, especially. Thanks to Zaka Ashraf, I think PCB chairman, he basically gave a couple of contracts as well to women's cricket. I mean, around 70 plus women basically got their contracts as well. So very, very good sign for Pakistan cricket. Obviously, every parent would like to encourage their daughters to go such kind of sports. I mean, like cricket. I mean, very happy for Pakistan women. I would love to see PCB should give more kind of opportunities as far as away tours are concerned. That is the reason they will improve their cricket. I mean.
Well, obviously the improvement has got to be from a long-term process, and it has to be consistent enough. But Usman, surely when you win a series overseas, especially against New Zealand, it goes a long way for a young T20 side.
I think this is a massive, massive achievement. I was watching the game in the afternoon, and once they won the game, let's not talk about even today. In the first T20 when they were playing and they won the game, it was history in itself. They won a T20 for the first time against New Zealand in New Zealand. And we were just expecting and having our fingers crossed that, well, we should win another game and win the series. Why not win the series? Why not think bigger? And they did not wait for too long, and they went one step further and they won the series, and they won it comprehensively, mind you. It was not a fluke, or it was not a very, very tight game in both of these games I'm talking about. And some of the players have been standout. Fatima Sana has been a superstar, young player of the year, and she has not looked back since then, and she has been one of the stars of Pakistan side. Off late, Alia Riaz has been superb. Muniba has been doing really well. Bisma has always been consistent. Nida Dar, she is the captain for some good reasons, and she is a super player as well. But their star of the moment is Fatima Sana. 3 for 18 in the first T20, 3 for 22 in the second T20, getting the key wickets, and mind you, not the tail enders. And she was, it was after her third wicket when they needed 12 of 3, she killed off the chase. And it was in the end a very comfortable victory in terms of T20 cricket, 10 runs, pretty well. I am just waiting for the PCB to announce some awards for these females, and they have been doing pretty well in T20s in the recent past as well. They have beaten South Africa, and Alia Riaz, I would especially mention her because she has got that knack of scoring key crucial runs in the end and at a brisk rate as well. And this team is turning out to be one strong unit for the future T20s. They have not been performing very well in one-days, because they can't score too many runs, but in T20 scoring 130 odd runs or more, and they've started doing that as well. And with this kind of bowling lineup, I think the future is very, very bright for Pakistan women T20 side.
Definitely. Umar Khan, your words on this great success that the women's T20 side has achieved.
Well, first I'd like to congratulate the Pakistan women's cricket team. Indeed, it's a very big achievement. And in the recent past, if you see the improvement in the Pakistan women's side is because of the exposure they're getting. First, there were hardly any matches they used to play. I remember back when I was in my playing days, when they had tours, when Uruj Mumtaz and Sana Mir were very young, they used to come and play against us on club level. And that's what the practice they got. They never got the exposure of playing other teams. In recently, if you look at the other foreign leagues of other women cricket, Pakistani players are part of the draft for the very first time. We saw many international players coming to Pakistan where we had that 3-team mini kind of a women PSL. And I think things are getting better. These women are getting exposure. They're being part of the commercials. They're getting recognition. And this boosts a lot of confidence in the ladies. And we've seen recently they're finishing games. Alia Riaz is a very clean striker. I saw another girl. She wasn't part of the team in this game, but she can hit the ball big. We saw our openers, scoring big hundreds. So this is something very good, and how we've seen India Bangladesh grow in the international women's circuit. First, it was just Australia and England, but now slowly Pakistan women are catching up too. And yes, with this, a lot of girls who are growing up will take interest. We'll have more players coming towards the women's cricket, and more families will be supportive for women cricket. So I think it's wonderful, and victories like these will just boost the confidence of these girls, and hopefully we'll get trophies on the international circuit as well.
Certainly, certainly. That being said, that of course wraps it up. Thank you very much, Malik Usman, Sabir Hussain, and Umar Khan for joining us. One thing is great. I think that these girls in green and the structure of women's cricket deserves a lot more that is being invested right now into the cause, be it from the grassroots level till the senior side. Towards domestic circuit as well. I think these girls deserve a lot more opportunities than what they are being given right now, and a structure which is consistent enough, including the amount of investment that is being poured in financially, I mean, as well. They surely deserve this as well, because we're seeing an equal model around the world now. That's how you can improve things and livelihoods for families as well, who send their girls to participate in the true form of the game as well. That wraps it up from me and the entire team. It's goodbye for now.